Bobby Turner, Turner Impact Capital seeks profits with a purpose. Tell me how you mix the two.
Well, actually, we don't even mix them. We actually believe that profits are driven by purpose. We actually believe that there's an interdependency between profits and purpose, and that by taking advantage of some of society's greatest challenges, we can actually drive better risk-adjusted returns with lower correlation to the broader market indices.
And you invest a lot in real estate solutions, specifically multifamily housing. Can you talk about what you're doing there and the market and the returns that investors can expect?
Yeah. Well, most investors believe that if you're going to superimpose a societal issue on a financial return, you're going to sacrifice in yield. I just refute that. Social impact investing in multifamily, by example, takes advantage of the huge mismatch between supply and demand of things like affordable workforce housing. 25% of all renters in America spend over 50% of their income on rent. There is a shortage of workforce housing. No one's building new workforce housing, and the existing workforce housing, when it comes on the market or becomes for sale or rolls off its compliance period, is sold off to more opportunistic investors who improve properties and then actually increase rents on the very backbone of society that can ill afford higher rents. We take a more innovative model. We don't improve properties, we enrich properties. And we can drive 10, 11, 12% net returns to investors without increasing rents, but rather by increasing profits through more conservative operations and more predictability and stability in the rent roll itself by improving and enriching the communities.
And where are you doing that right now? Which regions of America?
So we focus on marketplaces that are described what I call the 4 Ds, densely populated communities, diversely populated communities, communities where there's a huge existing mismatch of demand, and communities where we can be disruptive, where we can really make a scalable and sustainable impact in the lives of the communities.
Right now, publicly traded REITs, the publicly traded real estate market has not done well. I think the IYR, which tracks publicly traded REITs, is down maybe 2.5%, 3% because of fears of higher rates ahead. So what's your view of the overall real estate sector? I know that you're not talking about publicly traded stuff, but what's your view? Because you're in the market.
So overall, I'm in the market every day. I do believe there's overvaluation. I believe that, particularly in multifamily, where people think these are longer-term bonds, it's very sensitive to changes in interest rates. I do believe that over time there will be a systemic change in interest rates. Rates will rise, and that is why I believe that REIT stocks are at risk.
And you're also developing charter schools with Andre Agassi. Can you talk about how this has come about? Because there are education REITs out there as well.
There are very few education REITs. There's a number of REITs. There's entertainment property trusts, and there's inland realty that buy existing facilities. We're actually a benevolent landlord. We're a build to ownership for best-in-class charter school operators. We look at the issues. There's a huge demand for charter school seats. There's 1.2 million children on a wait list for a great charter school. At $20,000 a school seat, that's a $22 billion infrastructure opportunity. But investors have to be aware that 2 words will clearly define social impact investing: arrogance and distrust. Arrogance from capital investors who assume we know what stakeholders and people that are involved in the issues need, and distrust from the communities and the stakeholders who believe we're there to make money. When you partner with someone like Andre Agassi, who is truly an ambassador of great will, you can bridge that gap between arrogance and distrust.
And then finally, speaking of bridging gaps, you're I guess a quote-unquote reformed hedge fund guy who's now doing, you're doing philanthropy. So we're going to be hearing a lot on the campaign trail about inequality in America. And you're talking about bringing the hedge fund folks, that 1%, together to help the lower classes. Can you just talk about what your view of this debate right now?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm not a philanthropist. I am an evolved capitalist, one that believes that one can do good and do well without sacrificing yield. I like to tell people that the biggest challenge we have in this society is not the disparity in wealth, but rather the disparity in hope. Without hope, you undermine the civilization and civility, and desperate people do desperate things. Intensive despair leads to intensive violence, like we see in Cleveland, like we see in Baltimore. The only way to truly reinstill hope back into communities is by investing in issues, social issues like education, healthcare, and housing. We have a 50-year track record where the government and philanthropy have actually failed at righting the listing ship. They're treating issues, not curing them. And if one wants to truly cure issues, one has to harness market forces to create sustainable and profitable solutions. That's social impact.
Bobby Turner, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching The Street.